Buongiorno. Today we're going to make sausage, links and loose. What I have before me are pork butts, shoulder pork butts. They have nice grain in them, and this is ideal for Italian sausage. First thing we're going to do is we're going to bone this out. And there's just a little bone in here. A little tricky because it has different angles on it. This is letting your fingers and the knife work together so you know which way the bone curves. And just a little practice, and after maybe 3 or 4 of these you can really feel it. And what I use with the bone, what I do with the bone actually is I use it for sauce or minestre, which is greens. I utilize the whole thing. There's not too much fat in this, so we're not going to take any fat off because sausage needs a certain amount of fat for flavoring. And that's the bone. And you can clean this up a little like so. Or you could leave it on if you're going to be making minestre or use it for sauce. It's not too bad. Rather than go with this one, we're going to start with just cutting this up and showing you in what degree we take a butcher knife and we cut it down like so. Almond slices. And these are going to be cubed so that when we season it with our seasonings, each piece is going to be benefiting by the seasoning that we put in here. Cut down through here again. So we're going to have sizes about like so. And we're going to be putting them in this pan. And after we get all this cut up, then we will proceed to season it. Also make breakfast sausage with this with a different blade, but for our purposes it's going to be for sandwiches, for sauce, for pizza. Most all Italian cooking. I like this butt because, as I said, there's just the right amount of fat to give it a good flavor. A lot of people believe that when they see red meat like in beef that it's good, but actually most meat, and especially beef, should have grain, should have some fat grain going through it to be nice and tender. Red meat is usually tough. And therefore, that's where we get our brajol and our roasts. Now, this is the one butt cut up. in the interest of time, I proceeded to cut up bone and cut up the other butt. And I have put the first butt in here. And these are the seasonings we're going to be using. We're going to be using a cracked black pepper, a crushed red pepper, fennel seed, and salt. Now, there are variations to sausage. You can put parsley in, you could put garlic powder in. There are many other items you could put in, oregano for example, but I like my seasonings just as they are. As I said, if your taste buds are different, then you just add whatever you care to. You put cheese in for all that. Now this is the red pepper, and we're using 1/8 of a cup for 5 pounds. And we're using 1/4 of a cup of fennel. Black pepper, cracked black. And that's going to be 1/8 of a cup. And on the pepper, we're going to be using, again, 1/4 of a cup. Now I said for 5 pounds, I'm mistaken, this is going to be 10 pounds. This is what we're using today. I'm putting that in there. Now I'm proceeding to put the other 5 pounds of meat in here. Now we're going to add some water. Now another variation would be you could add wine, but again, as I say, I'm sticking to the recipe that I like. And we add some water just to moisten enough to get this seasoning all mixed up in here. And you mix this up so that all these little pieces have a good accumulation of the seasonings. They can also smell, and through the years of cooking and preparing this, you can usually tell whether you've got a good seasoning, good amount of seasoning on each. And that is basically the recipe. Now we're going to pass it through the processor. Oh, before we go, I wanted to show you that if your knife gets a little dull, of course, you use your steel to get it nice and sharp, because you never get cut on a sharp knife. You always get cut on a dull knife. Just a little antidote. Now, this is a casing that we're going to be using for the sausage. And it comes packed in salt, such as this, to preserve it. And then when you're ready to use it, you soak it in some water to get rid of the salt, plus to make it pliable. And you have to open up the inside of it and run water through, such as so. And that's the casing. Now we're going to take that casing and we're going to put it on the funnel here. And I think I'm going to have to move that camera so you can see this. So hold down 1 second and we'll move it. There, I think that gives us a good picture here. And we take one of these ends and we slide it over. Another thing for the water does is the lubricant, so that when you put it on here, it goes on very easy. The trick in getting a casing full is to keep feeding the meat into the grinder so that no air gets in there. And there's a little trick to that. As the air gets in, we're going to punch this as we go along. On a bigger machine, it's going to be a lot easier to go through than the smaller machine because we only have a little neck. But we'll do the best we can with what we've got. All right, we're going to put some sausage in here, like our meat. See the air coming out of there? Well, that's what we want to try and do today, is keep it so that air does not get in there. And when it does, it will And there we have link sausage. And that's probably about 5 pounds or so. And if you want to make links out of this, you merely take your sausage and make an indentation and turn it. Your next one is so, and so forth down the line. And there you have your link sausage. And as you can see, stuffing it through the small neck here is quite a chore. But on the commercials, of course, the neck is a lot bigger and the pan is much bigger, and you don't have to keep feeding it as much as that. Now, that's all the link we're going to make, and we're going to use the rest for loose sausage. This we're going to use for spaghetti sauce and sausage sandwiches, and the loose we're going to use for pizza. Now, as you can see, I've taken the funnel out of the head here, and I'm going to be making the loose sausage. This is going to be a little bit easier because you don't have to worry about the casing coming out. Now, if you noticed, the last move I made was to take some of the ground sausage and put it back in here, and that's to get all the large pieces out. and just to clean out the machine. Now, another thing you have to remember when you're making sausage in a machine such as this, you have to keep feeding it. You shouldn't let this run without anything going through it, otherwise you're going to burn out the worm that's in there that feeds the knife and the blade. And that is our sausage, loose and links. Then I'm going to put this in some freezer bags, maybe a pound, 2 pounds, a pound I would think, and pull them out as I need them for my own sausage. I'm going to be taking a piece of the sausage that we made. I have some water in the frying pan, and the water actually is to part cook it, and then after it's partly cooked, then I will add a little oil and finish cooking it. And this is going to be for a sausage sandwich.